Hi, I'm Dana Campbell. I live in New York City, and I am a graduate of iPEC from 2015. I came to coaching kind of in a roundabout way. Actually, I spent 12 years in the corporate world in management consulting. I worked on organizational transformation and big, huge projects, really stressful career. In the process of that, I burnt out twice, actually. And a long time ago, while I was doing that job, I had a colleague suggest that I become a life coach. And I kind of brushed her off and said, yeah, whatever. It's not a real job. And then surely throughout, as I kept working, it kind of kept being proven to me that coaching was really something that I was good at within the confines of the workplace. So I did a lot of executive coaching, and I did a lot of associate coaching as far as career management and career paths and how people would want to develop themselves. And then I left my corporate job in 2014 and immediately found and signed up for iPEC. And still was not quite sure about the process of becoming a coach or if it was what I really wanted to do. And after the first weekend was completely bought in, after Mod 1 was completely bought in and decided, yes, this is what I wanted to do. I've also been a yoga teacher for the last 7 years. And so a part of the journey that kind of led me here was that I was looking for a way to stay in the corporate world, but to get to really infuse mindfulness and a lot of the background practices of yoga into my workday. And so coaching really provided that opportunity as well. Yoga plus my experience in the corporate world sort of informed my niche. So I am a career strategy and burnout coach. What that means is that I work with a lot of successful, driven, high-powered professionals who have burnt out and need to reignite their spark. My business doesn't have a name yet. It's still just under the name of Dana Campbell. My website is Dana T. Campbell. And it's a slow journey in building a coaching practice. It takes a lot of trial and error. For me, I actually found a couple of referral services, and I was relying pretty heavily on those for the first year. And then something finally clicked earlier this spring. My business took off. I started getting referrals from previous clients, from old colleagues, and that helped me boost my business even more. So in May, my business actually doubled and is now making a lot more progress toward being a fully financially viable business. It's tough. I think I'm not the best networker, and I definitely haven't tapped into my network as much as possibly I could. I also realize that I've had a lot of conversations with people who tell me, oh, you're a burnout coach. I need you, or I needed you 2 years ago. And the type of work I'm doing, and probably a lot of you are doing, is kind of time sensitive. And people have to really be ready to take it on and do it. So I found that I'll have conversations with people and they'll come back to me 3 months, 6 months, almost a year later sometimes, and say, okay, now I'm ready. Can we do this thing? One of the things I love about coaching is that there is no one answer for everyone. Everything I do is highly individualized, completely tailored to the individual. That being said, I've noticed a few trends when people are feeling stuck in their career and not quite sure what way to turn, and they don't really know where or how to start looking. So one of the trends I've noticed is that people aren't able to really tell their network what they might be looking for or how their network could help them to find a new job, something that might be out of the box thinking. And one of the reasons for that is that most of us think in terms of our resume. And we kind of look a lot at the past, which we know from coaching, right? People say stuck in the past, they're not really looking to the future. Or what I would even say is more of a present set, who am I mindset, rather than what is my resume. So I have this little thing that I work on with a lot of my clients, and it's called the kick-ass statement. And what it basically boils down to is helping my clients get to a really short, like 2-sentence, maybe 3-sentence statement about who they are at the core of their being and why they kick ass. In other words, why a company or somebody needs to talk to them. And I found that this formula works really, really well for my clients when they're going on networking conversations or when they're meeting people or just asking for introductions. I think the biggest driver for me in my coaching practice is watching people move from a place where they felt stuck to a place where they feel much more empowered and free. As I mentioned before, a lot of people just have a traditional mindset when it comes to jobs. They don't see the whole world of possibility, or a lot of them even describe that they feel like a square peg trying to be fit into a round hole. So helping them find, the square hole that they can fit into is one of my favorite parts of coaching. My mantra is there are no have-tos. I notice that in a lot of conversations with my clients, the have-to type statements come up a lot. And obviously we have to pay our bills. There are certain have-tos, but when we get stuck in that way of thinking, we completely lose all sight of what opportunity, what possibility might be out there. And honestly, I find that a lot of times the have-to statements get in the way of people being able to express what they really want to do. So have-to statements are pretty habitual. And my style is a very direct style. I think people who like to work with me do so because they want somebody who's going to be pretty bold and kind of call them on their stuff. So I would have to say I'm not very soft-handed. It's not really the white glove approach. Oftentimes I create awareness that they're using that word. Half the time people aren't even aware of that. And then I find some sort of creative questioning line that kind of takes them beyond have to what is it that you'd want to do? So, well, if you didn't have to do that, what would you do instead? Becoming a coach and getting to the place where I've been has definitely required me to break through a lot. I actually tell my clients all the time that one of the things I love about this job is it requires me to be 100% authentic, or else I feel like I can't really do the work with my clients, which means I'm perpetually coming up against my own stuff. One of the biggest ones of them is fear. So tons of fear about, will this work? Do I actually have anything valuable to offer? A lot of it comes back to, will this work? There's a lot of skepticism that goes along with that as well. I think that a huge part of what I had to overcome, or what I'm still working on overcoming, is just coming face to face with gremlins that I've carried my entire life. This whole I'm not good enough really boiled down more to being able to step into and own my own power. So it's ironic that that's actually one of the things I help my clients do, which is why I say it pushes me to be authentic all the time. But, in my previous career, it was really easy to hide behind a resume or to hide behind the list of things that I've done. And I had a really amazing, successful career in management consulting. So there was a long list of those. When I first had to write my bio for my website, it took months. It took months, because changing the language to who am I and understanding and recognizing that there is inherently a lot of power just even in me being in the conversation took a lot. I don't think my arms are fully wrapped around it, but they're definitely touching at least. So while at the same time I had to step into my own power and really realize that there's something powerful about me being in the situation, I also constantly have to remind myself of one thing. And that is that ultimately, none of this is about me. There are a lot of times, especially I find that when I get started with a new client, I get really worried about what they're going to think about after the first session. Will they think this is going to help? Especially because a lot of my clients are sort of on a timeline. They need a new job tomorrow. And I find myself getting really wrapped up in, okay, well, this is what I can do to kind of force it. And then that pulls me out of coaching mode. So I've had to kind of start repeating a lot to myself before I get on these sessions. This isn't about me. Let it unfold as it will. So I think it depends how you define success. That being said, my business has really taken off. So I now have 16 consistent clients, paying clients. And I hired 2 people to help me. So I have a virtual assistant. I have a marketing assistant. I'm in the middle of a product course launch. It'll be my second course launch. This one will be all online. My first one was a group coaching program on the phone. And I have a lot of other exciting things coming up. I'm co-authoring a book on burnout and burnout recovery. So there's definitely room to grow, but I would say that for the first year of business, I finally turned profitable, and it's really exciting.